Hi boys and girls, hope you're having a good day and a good week. And today I trust that you are following the weekly assignments that are on the website. Be sure you look up some of the new activities that Mrs. Johnson has placed on our calendar for you. I think you will enjoy especially a couple of them, so be sure to look on that. And are you involved in your iReady and doing your 20 minutes for reading and 20 minutes for math and reading epic books? I hope so. I hope you are enjoying that. Well, today we are going to be going over our high frequency sight words and then our vocabulary words, and then I'm going to read you a read aloud about building a ship. But first of all, we're going to go over our high frequency words, and the first one we've gone over is above. Above is over, over, or on top of something. Above, look at it right here. Above, over, top of, above. O-B, O-V-E, above. Build, build, to make something, to use Legos or wood, block, metal, whatever it is, to make something, to build something. To build, build, to make something. I'm sure many of you have built things using your Legos or wooden blocks or all kinds of things you figure out to build some fun things. Fall is our next word. Fall, to trip and go down on the ground. Fall. I always thought of fall as a season, which it is, where the leaves turn color. But on this, they want you to understand you could trip and fall down on the ground. And then also, if you don't build something really together and make it tight, it will fall apart. So the word is fall. Something that goes down. New. New is to understand, is to using your brain. I knew that. I knew what to do. New, K-N-E-W with our irregular sight words. To understand. New, to understand. Next one, you all know this one. Money, money, coins, dollar bills, money. You use the money to buy things, or you may take your money and put it in your piggy bank in a safe place to keep your money so you can buy something special later on. The last high frequency sight word we have is toward. That means to move to a person or move over towards to a place or a thing. You walk toward the library or you walk toward the water to go swimming. Toward means to go to something, to walk or run in that direction. Toward. Well, boys and girls, we're going to go over our vocabulary words right now. Vocabulary sight words that go with the story. Both of these go with the story. So when we're reading our story, I want you to think about the words and see if you can remember some of those sight words. We went over these. Contented means happy. Contented, happy. Intend, to do something. I intend to do something like go for a walk, eat some ice cream. I intend to watch a certain movie tonight. I intend to do something. Project, project, something you work on. You may have a project of drawing a special paper for your teacher or for your mom or your dad, or to write them a sweet note and to thank them for all they do. A project. Or you might remember you made a leprechaun trap, and that was a project. Something that you worked on, something that you made or did. The next one is marvelous, which means wonderful or excellent. Marvelous. It's great. Love it. Marvelous. I remember when I was a little girl, my mom always baked me my favorite cake for my birthday. Chocolate cake with chocolate icing. It was marvelous. It was excellent. Loved it. Marvelous. Structure. Structure. Something that has been built. Structure. Something that has been built. As we see in this picture, she has made a little structure out of the unit5 cubes. And she has made something that she was having fun building. Structure is like a building, or a structure could also be something like a tent that you would put up, called a structure. All right, we are going to be learning about a ship and how a ship is built. And how do things get built? Well, it takes a lot of workers to get things built sometimes. And if you have a ship, it really takes a lot of work. And this right here, boys and girls, is a cruise ship. It is a cruise ship. And a cruise ship takes people all over the world. They go to Hawaii, or they'll go to Alaska, they'll go to Europe, they'll go to the Bahamas. They go all over the world, to Mexico. They get aboard the ship and they cruise along the ocean water, and they get to see so many wonderful things. And inside the cruise ship, it is absolutely gorgeous. They have beautiful rugs and furniture and chandeliers, and people dress up, and they have swimming pools on board ship. And then they have restaurants, and they have gift shops, and they have all kinds of wonderful things. So when you're cruising on the ship, you have lots of things to do. But how do they make this cruise ship? Let's look, shall we? Ships take people and things all over the world. How does a ship get made? Let's figure it out. Okay, boys and girls? Here we go. What is needed to build a ship? Making ships employs many people. It takes a lot of workers to make a ship. This task uses lots of tools and parts as well. Let's see how a ship is made step by step. Look at this. This is just the start of the ship. And they have brought these huge, very heavy steel beams, and they've designed them a special way. They're not just straight up and down. They have curves like in an S, or just round like a backward C. All kinds of designs to make this ship. This is what we would call a frame. And so we're going to look here. It says frame it. First, workers build a frame just like this. They start at the bottom and then they start working up to frame it out. The ship's frame balances on blocks up above a dock. Huge cranes hoist or pull up the big parts in place so they do not fall. Workers must avoid being bumped by these big pieces of steel. This is a crane. This is the poles that hold up this big, huge crane, and those are the hooks. And when they want to put these steel on here, they have to use these cranes to lift it, because you cannot lift it with just a couple of men. It's too heavy. So they use these tall cranes, and they bring them up, and they put them down on the ship, and they hold them there until the men can get them put in place. And they have to have plans to figure out how to do it, directions, and they have to do it in the right order or it won't work. So they have to be very, very careful. So first goes the frame of the ship. And then next, two kinds of metal are melted into steel, and it boils. Look at this, how hot it is. It melts it, and it's very hot. And if it even just a little flick of that touches you, it will burn very severely and hurt. How hot steel flows into flat metal sheets and molds. When steel gets cold, it gets hard. The steel sheets are then ready for making a ship. So you can see it's poured into something. And if you look over here, in order to have this shape, you have to make a mold. And the mold would be a wiggly, like a trough, a sink, but it would come around like this, and they would pour the steel in that, and then they'd let it sit there until it got cold. And then they would pull it out, bring it out, and they would put it on the ship frame with the hoist here, the crane. But then they would have sections, parts that they had to put together to make the wall of the ship. And they would use a helmet like this. And which has an area, the glass, so they can see what they are doing. And there's oxygen in there so they can continue to breathe. And then they have special gloves that won't burn their hands. And special clothes that they wear to protect themselves. This is a welding iron, and it welds the pieces together, which are called joints. Most workers put on gloves and a helmet to protect their hands and their head. And I'll show you a picture. In the next picture, it will show you how they welded these pieces together. Instead of using tape, like we would put papers together and tape them, we can't do that because it would not work and hold them. They have to weld it together. And what they do is, the weld is like this. You can see on here, there are dark lines, and those are the pieces of metal or steel that they use, and they weld them together to make the body come up how they want it to look. Check it, paint it. Workers check all the joints, all the pieces that come together. See on this side? This is the inside. Excuse me. The inside of the ship. Down in the bottom part. And they put these posts against them, steel posts, and they weld those on to help hold them on. Then they point out leaks of water and fix them. If a joint leaks, the inside of the ship will be moist with water, and it might even sink. So they have to be very careful and make sure everything is sealed tightly. Here's the cruise ship. Isn't it beautiful? It looks like it's already set to sail on a big adventurous cruise. Then the ship is painted, and the job is done. It gleams in the sun. The workers knew it would look nice. People will pay a lot of money to ride on this ship. And they will, boys and girls, because they enjoy taking a trip on a cruise. And if you see this boat, this isn't a ship, it's a boat. It's called a tugboat. And that will help to push the ship out onto the water and help them navigate out onto the ocean. And then the tugboat will turn around and go back to port, where all the other boats and ships are. Here we are on this next page is going to show you the cruise ship that is going out to sea. The people on the dock point with joy as the new ship begins the first trip. Those on the ship wave as it glides towards the open sea. And they are so excited because this is the first time it's going out to sea after it was built. So they have fireworks going and just lots of music and bands playing and people cheering and throwing confetti up because they are excited. And they are going to go on an adventure. Where? I don't know. But wherever it is, they will have fun. There are other boats, ships, not boats. They're ships because they're big. There are many kinds of ships on the sea. This is an icebreaker ship. And what it does, it is up at North Pole. And it's where it's all ice and snow, where the polar bears live and penguins. And the ice will get so hard on the water that you can't break it. A regular ship cannot break and get through that ice. So this icebreaker ship will go out and will break the ice up. So the other ships, the cargo ships, will be able to go to different places that they need to go to. And here is a cargo ship. The cargo ship is a big ship, and it's mostly flat on the top there because that's where they put all the cargo. They have these big, huge bins, and sometimes they are the back of a truck. And you've seen trucks on the highway that have the big boxes that they pull around. Well, that's where they are on the ship. And they send them over from other countries, and then they unload them and hook them up to the trucks, and the trucks take all the produce or the canned products, whatever it is that came on that boat, they will take it to different places in the country. Also, a lot of these cargo containers will be put onto trains, and you will see trains going by and they have the big boxes. Well, those big boxes either are coming off a cargo ship or the train's taking those cargo boxes back to the cargo ship for another turnaround of getting other products that they need to take to other countries or to our country, the United States. So those are cargo ships. This is an aircraft carrier. An aircraft carrier is the Navy or the Air Force, and they have their planes, their jet planes, on this ship. And they land on the ship and they fly off of the ship. That to me would be very scary because you have this fairly good sized plane and a big ship, but you're out in the middle of this big huge ocean, and it would look just really tiny if you were up above looking down. And you would fly down and they would land on the ship, and a big cable cord would be there, and there would be a hook on the plane that would grab that cord, and it would stop them from going over. And then they would take the planes, and then they put the wings up, and they put them down underneath the runway inside the ship. This is an aircraft carrier, and I'm so glad we have them because these are men and women in the military that stay on this ship, and they protect us in our country. So we have many different kinds of ships that are out there sailing on the ocean, and they all have to be built in a very special way and using really sturdy steel and figuring out how it goes together to make it look good and to make it work to float on the water without sinking, which is very important. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed learning about building and structure, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.